We're just a few rounds in here, hopping into our first round of 64 matchup. Of course, to go over our players here in this first one, as I hop in right during the draft deck, so we have a brief moment to introduce everybody, it looks like. So, of course, probably the highest seed here in this lobby is going to be Foxspirit from Team Atlas, one of the players that we constantly see at the top of the ranked leaderboards, as well as in the grand finals to a lot of these IPL events. So, lots of eyes will be on the Foxspirit to do well. However, there's still plenty of people ready to make an upset or find themselves with a bit of a breakout. We have Gaba, CFGD, XAU.Droodo, or Droodo rather, Ookina, PatchTourist from Team Hype, OLA.Guizera, I said it right this time. Then MittcrowenHYPE from Team Hype. There we go. We will get things started with the classic King of the Hill that we have been following and kind of doing with the IPL events. We'll start from the top and we'll roll from there. I kind of want to see what Foxspirit has been up to start off this one. And early Aegis with Empath is going to be the way to go, it looks like here. Going up against CFGD. Quick peek over to the audio levels to see that if everything is a-okay. By all means, everybody in the chat, if there happens to be a little bit of a mismatch, you're absolutely welcome to let me know. It does not upset me if there's any sort of mid-stream tech fixes. I'd rather know now and fix it than have the entire stream be out of whack. I did test everything, but there is no guarantee that everything goes correctly. So very, very solid starts here for Foxspirit. Immediately running over CFGD in this instance. We'll run with them for the maximum of 3 runs. And if there's one thing that did kind of pop up a little bit that I was very, very interested in, at least personally, from the sit and goes yesterday, a lot of people were running Toxic, which is very, very weird to me. Normally it's kind of just left there and it's kind of an afterthought for people that want to just go for a Rip Lance anyway. But there's a lot of people that were actually going for a 3-4 Toxic. That normally does not happen. And we're kind of seeing that happen here right now with Foxspirit with the very, very early Toxic, having the Artolo, the hollow one at that there, very pretty, alongside the Rangers. So quick Toxic there that links here. So this is going to be the virtuous one. So this is the healer and the empath variant of the Lynxes. And the lower your team goes, the more it heals. As you saw, that Earth Groko, that thing should have been knocked out a long time ago, but it's just kept on getting healed up by that Lynx. Has the Archos as well there for a little bit of extra backup. But a fantastic early game setup here, it looks like, for Foxspirit. One more time, can Gaba be the combo breaker in this instance? Running a lot of rogue, it looks like. No, just the 2 rogues. You've got the whatchamacallit, the Tiru, or Tirio, alongside the Chikoral. They got 2 dive buddies and a couple of empaths. Try and hold the line with some fighters. Bit of a mix and match kind of composition. Does have the 4 air to their advantage. However, the on the side of Foxspirit, they are not necessarily relying on fighters or rogues to do their damage, so that air might not be as heavily effective. Watch me eat my words. I'm a-okay if that does end up happening, but let's see. 3 bulwarks now here for Foxspirit as well, nicely clumped up. Their healer is going to be able to top everybody off. Look at how safe and sound this team is here for Foxspirit. Gaba has the right idea as well, but the Archos falling extremely early is going to make things extremely difficult for the rest of the team to hang on. They have those shields, but it is not going to be able to hold on for very, very long. The untargetable coming out there from the Chikoral is going to keep it alive at least a little bit longer, but not long enough to deal any significant damage. And with that, Foxspirit has the chokehold here on this lobby, taking care of the second place player Gaba in rather convincing fashion. In regards to where we're playing today, this is on the Halcyon Sea. It's a very, very tame one, and it lets everybody get a little rich a little bit quicker, with 3 additional credits getting into your pocket every single round without any sort of conditions needing to be made. we're gonna hop along now with Mittcrowen from Team Hype as they're going up against their fellow teammate, PatchTourist. Take a look and see what they're rolling here. Off the start, we see a lot of air coming out here from PatchTourist with a very, very early shock because of that squeeze in the background. Definitely seen a lot of like 6 air, 4 shock, like hyper rolling kind of compositions, but it's very risky to run with. Meanwhile, here for Mittcrowen, they are going to be opting for empaths and scions. With the firepower, they do have that fury off in the bottom right or bottom left-hand side, loaded up with a couple of items as well, trying to bring some good firepower. Here comes the ace right across the tank line, so some decent damage, but Scions do have a little bit of a hard time with their damage output, at least early on it feels like. And we're seeing that polar bear here from PatchTourist. So many members of PatchTourist got low, but can they finish the job? No, they're not going to be able to. That Fury and the Ranger in the back line are going to be able to hold the line. Mittcrowen is going to keep themselves into the midfield. They are near the bottom, now holding the middle of the field. Not bad, not bad. And of course, there are plenty of matches currently happening here in this IPL 500. It's going to be very, very difficult to keep track of them all. But I am going to be doing my damnedest. I was showing the stream a little bit earlier that I do have myself a little bar that I can pop on through. And in theory, if I go back to default, yeah, it fits just quite nicely. Where did it go? And from here, I can very briefly, if I wanted to, kind of scroll through and see any of the previous results. So this will be something that I pull up. This is probably a good idea for some of these NPC rounds once we get on rounds, or excuse me, games 2 and onward here. It will be a little bit clunky. Of course, I am the one-man show here on the Silent channel here on my channel. So things might not necessarily be the smoothest, and I will absolutely call myself out, but hey, I'm just here to hang out and get some solid coverage here of this IPL 500. Like I was saying before, it is beautiful to be able to, like, it's beautiful that Illuvium wants to stream the grand finals, and I'm extremely happy and thankful to be a part of that, but only streaming the climax of your story leaves a lot of context and a lot of build that could be shown. So that's why I'm here nice and early here on this Saturday morning. In this round of 64, we're gonna get all the context and have all the storylines that we could possibly ever want in this tournament, as Mittcrowen going up against XAU.Droodo. Droodo was running heavy bulwarks, and it's really making things a little bit difficult here for Mittcrowen to try and breach through. That Mammoth is doing a good job trying to move things around, but it only has that Ranger available in terms of DPS. Beautiful attack here for Droodo, knocking off the King of the Hill. And now let's ride along with Droodo. Having the 5 bulwarks here versus CFGD is going to be quite nice, considering you get that reflective damage every single time you get hit based off of your resistances with that 5 bulwark. So you're going to be whittling them down that way. You do have the double toxic coming on through as well, so additional damage over time, and maybe a little bit of healing on top of that. And because the only thing that really does burst damage, well, I guess let's be honest, there's 3 things that could do burst damage. Fighters might be known for consistent damage, but they do have the tools for some burst, and we'll have to see. They have that penguin, the stabbing is there as well. A lot of damage augments committed onto the little foe, the little bird that we see on both sides actually running the foe. The untargetability coming out there from that evasive veil on the side of CFGD might be clutch. It's been able to just free shoot this entire time up until the tank goes down. So the foe is gone, the invested DPS is gone. Meanwhile, here for Droodo, it is looking good. They have the foe still alive, and they have the tank line to back it up. Even have the Monkier there for a little backup as well. The 5 fighters and the Berserkers coming out here from the CFGD, not going to find its mark this time. It's going to be the Berserker Fighter Bulwark style. Coming out here from Droodo, leading the charge here. Ever have that moment where you write out your tweet but you totally forget to actually send it? Yeah, that's me. Whoopsie. Now we've got everything situated in... Me? And possibly one more time here, it's going to be Droodo up against PatchTourist. And I thought I saw the rake. Sure enough, this thing, at least personally, is up there in the S tier for me if they build Omnivamp. Does PatchTourist have that? They do not. So this thing is still going to be doing a ton of damage, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be the unstoppable menace that we've seen 1v6ing teams at times. But now here for Droodo, they opted to put their augments onto their monk here as they're able to get the exalted variant, and it's going to have the one-on-one there with the rake. The untargetable is going to make it turn away, but it actually turns right back around, starts swinging away on that rake, and with that thing going down very early, I feel like this is just going to be the Zerg swarm as they charge on through across these fighters. The monk here is completely safe for the most part, takes a little bit of damage but nothing to be worried about. And with so many more Illuvials on the board here, PatchTourist is about to take a major hit here to their health. Knocked down to 54. With that, Droodo is on an absolute roll. I want to roll around here now as we have Mittcrowen versus Ookina. Ookina taking a ton of heat here in this early game. Round 16 and they're already into the low 20s. So this is a scary spot to put yourself. What in the world were they going for? They were trying for that 6 air, 4 shock. They got 7 air, 3 shock. So I mean, they've got some firepower, but they just could not find an augment, I think, to really make it happen. They couldn't find the Riley, so that definitely hurts. You see, they're so close, but could not quite find it. Is this enough firepower here to get through Mittcrowen, though? They dive on through right into the middle of them all. That Arctase is going to be loaded up on attack damage augments. The squeeze is barely going to be able to get a shot off, but the Octius on the other side doing a ton of damage here to Ookina, and it's looking rather good right now for Mittcrowen as they are right there. They put so many of their augments onto the Tibiruko, and unfortunately, at least in my opinion, that thing's basically a meat shield. It feels like it does nothing. And Ookina is now on death's door with 10 health left. We're going to ride with them here. I want to see how this ends up turning out. Can they find the stroke of luck they're looking for? Well, at the same time, quickly taking a look here. Perfect opportunity for a chat check too when we have these NPC rounds. Of course, got everything open, so by all means, anybody have any questions, any comments? Do you have a favorite? Which alluvial is BS to you? By all means, let me know. And why is it the penguin? No, I'm just playing. This one's going to be a tough one now here for Ookina, as they were able to at least level up their squeeze into the Octius. But again, their only real backup, like, this is a painful spot to be in. All of your augments are focused on a mixture of tank and attack damage, but the thing that's going to be doing probably the most damage on this team is going to be probably either your Ranger, which you can't put augments on, or the Octius, and you have no Omega power augments. This definitely hurts, and you're going up against a fully loaded Scoriox here on the side of OLA.Guizera. This looks troublesome, but it's not impossible. Let's see if this Mammoth can maybe stun things up. You've got that Vermilia or in the front line as well. Good shock coming on down, but immediately we're going to see this Octius just get lasered down. The double Snolfs on the side of Guizera. I was not expecting that at all. I'm sitting here looking at the Scoriox, but here comes the double Kamehameha from the other side. Immediately destroying the carry, immediately destroying Ookina. They will find themselves out very early in this one. That hurts here for your opportunity to get into that round of 32. Not impossible, but a lot of things have to definitely fall your way. Droodo and CFGD. Droodo did have a little bit of a winning streak for a while there, but then seems to have gotten taken down a couple of notches. Both of these players into the 30s. Let's take a look and see what everybody's running. The 5 Bulwark 3 fighters alongside the Berserker led the charge by this Blotto. Not quite fully loaded, but still deadly. Meanwhile, on the other side, speaking of Penguins, the Slash and Dark Hollow on top of that. Damn, nice. Going to be the main damage dealer of sorts, but they don't necessarily have the dedicated tank here on the side of CFGD. So this one going to be interesting. We're going to see a couple of the Illuvials melt in the backline here for the green side pretty well immediately. It is going to be slashing or bust, but at the same time, we've seen these things pop off. It does have that invulnerability here in just a second, but I think there's just too many Illuvials, and at this point here, I don't think there's enough damage. Do they have the Omnivamp? They did have the Omnivamp actually, but it was not enough. The rest of the team couldn't find eliminations, so it could not stack that Omnivamp. Well, let's see if this ends up being a bad loss. This could be an early exit here for PatchTourist. They're going to go up against Droodo. I know we just saw Droodo, but I want to see if PatchTourist can fight their way out of this one. 2 Tempest, 6 Air. Going up against the 5 Bulwarks alongside the Fighters and Berserkers. So, I mean, in theory, the Air and the Tempest should be able to help them out, but can they find the damage and survive long enough? Because this composition does really lack a super strong main tank. The Mammoth is fine as an off tank, but I really don't see it doing too great as the main. It's holding the line for now. The Rake is going to be pretty much immediately demolished before it even finds an opportunity to fire off its Omega. So it is going to be all damage based off of that Polar Bear that we see on the right-hand side being escorted by the Kuka, but it is not going to be able to hold the line for very long. And this is a rough one. Is this going to be PatchTourist eliminated out of this one? They are going to hang on just barely here with 4 HP and a dream. CFGD also on to death's door, so we're starting to lose some players here in this event. Mittcrowen versus PatchTourist, Gaba versus CFGD. Scary moments here for both of these players. Is that a Blazonite already here? Very nice find here for Gaba. Finding the fully loaded Blazonite. Doesn't even care about the Wildfire, which honestly, fair enough, because they have the 6 Air, 2 Tempest composition going up against the Frost, Air, Water, Earth kind of mixed style. The Slayer coming out here for the side of CFGD. They need to make this work, and it's good positioning here for the Penguin. The Slash on the far right-hand side is able to start ramping up. Meanwhile, the Blazonite here on the side of Gaba is getting messed with a little bit by that Lura, but overall, rather untouched. It's able to just free fire in the backline and is now targeting that Slash, and the invulnerability is again going to come out, but the Omnivamp, it's just not there, and that is going to be CFGD being taken down out of this lobby alongside PatchTourist. So CFGD in 6th, PatchTourist in 7th. Silly me, forgot to grab water, so I'm gonna have to do that in between games here. Whew. I don't know about all of you, but at least where I'm at here in Canada, things are starting to slowly but surely bounce between cold and warm. The weather cannot make up its mind. So, of course, that means cold season. So bear with me if I have to mute every once in a while to sneeze or cough, but try to make that as discreet as possible. Of course, Foxspirit still absolutely crushing it here, leading the charge in this lobby. 5 empaths, 3 bulwarks, the 2 mystics, with the Apon alongside the Geyser, as well as Aegis, and look at this hollowed out forest. It's all the attack speed it could possibly want while also chaining its attacks to multiple units. That is a deadly old bird. Alongside this Virtuous Floor Lynx that has the double Elder Surge. So not only is there a ton of damage coming out from this composition, but there is a ton of healing here as well. See them plow on through this NPC round. I don't think anybody's going to get eliminated here in this round. So I'm going to ride along here Foxspirit for one more as they go up against Gaba once again here. Gaba running the 6 Air 2 Tempest style. The fighters, the Templars, and the Empaths with all of their eggs basically in the Blazonite basket. Let's see how this one goes. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that forest up on the right-hand side. Does have tons of damage, and actually did switch out the one Chrono Flux for the Leviathan's Fury on top of that. And look at this thing just chaining from alluvial to alluvial. The rest of the team is holding the line while it just murks everybody. That untargetable coming out of the Blazonite's going to make things a little bit difficult for just a second. But Foxspirit looking like they're on absolute cruise control in this lobby. Now going up against XAU.Droodo. What could possibly be an elimination round here? Things don't go Droodo's way. Leave it to me to break my browser, apparently. We're back here right in the nick of time. So, of course, this 4-fighter, 5 bulwark style here from Droodo. Trying to go up against this very, very brutal style coming out here from Foxspirit again. Where's the forest? Is it going to be able to pop off like last time? It's being focused down a little bit. That Ripplance is going to be able to take them down extremely quickly. So Foxspirit might have finally been bested here in a little while, as that Ripplance is going absolutely nuts on the right-hand side. The Goliath here from Droodo as well, finding some very high-value stuns, and they've just been able to completely hold the line here. They have a ton of healing and a ton of tank, ton of damage, but it is not going to be enough to take down Droodo. He's going to hang on for a little bit longer here in this one. Right along with Droodo one more time here, going up against Guizera. Did just lose their last round as well, so they're getting a little bit closer to the danger zone in terms of that health bar. In the 30s, they've got probably one, maybe two more shots to them, in theory. The 5 Bulwark, 2 Harbingers, and the 2 Scions were on the table. It looks like they're trying to cook something up steam-wise, re-steam into 2 Magma as well. This is going to get nasty when the Ripplance hits the Magma. Will it be able to survive? The nice last-minute position here for Droodo. Is that Ripplance going to turn onto the newly evolved Umber? I don't think it will. Big shot coming out here from Guizera's Sinalf, and it's going to take down 2. And now the steam is cooking. The snowballing effect here now of that steam affinity is going to come in clutch. You have the Scoriox from backline as well. Just a beautiful shot coming out here from Guizera's Sinalf. alongside the Umber, just able to clean house. And that will mean we have an elimination here in 5th position, as XAU.Droodo will fall in 5th. Mittcrowen is going to fall in 4th as well. Now we have Gaba going up against Guizera to try and keep themselves in this game. Fighters all over the place. And now that some people are actually getting eliminated, maybe we can start seeing some of these later stage alluvials here for the fighters. They've been contesting each other for so long that they haven't really necessarily been able to get their full potential. And we are going to see that fully evolved Jota now, full stage 3 alongside the Blazonite and the Forest. So lots of firepower here for Gaba, but can it deal with this Scoriox? Can it deal with the now fully evolved Dwelf up in the left-hand corner? Shots fired directly onto that Blazonite. It is going to fall pretty well immediately, and the stun doesn't matter when you're immune. So big plays coming out here from Guizera once again, really making that Dwelf do massive work, but you still have to deal with this Polar Bear. The Umber is going to try and do it. The one-on-one here kind of in the middle, but it is not going to be enough here. We're going to see an elimination once again. Gaba going to fall in 3rd, a very respectable finish, but Guizera's ability to get themselves into a proper position to find the most amount of value. This Dwelf as well does have that final abounding, which basically lets its water beam that already does a ton of damage at this evolution stage now allows it to crit on top of that. So that is absolutely disgusting. We've seen what happened to that Blazonite. Blazonite isn't necessarily the squishiest of targets, but it melted like butter. So beautiful plays here for Guizera. While we have this NPC run, just trying to see if we happen to have any other tournament matches finishing up here. We may have a couple. I'm curious as to how this works. So for the first time here today, let's try and whip out the bar. See if it allows me to... Let's read this. Okay, it's not going to show me until the very, very end. So a little bit too soon to fire off the results bar, but soon enough we'll be able to play our one thing. Okay. In the meantime, though, your final 2 here in this round, it's going to be Foxspirit with that loaded up, hollowed out Blazonite with this Empath and Mystic style. Meanwhile, on the other side, we're seeing that big water beam coming up from that Dwelf once again here. The 5 bulwarks, the 3 scions on the side of Guizera trying to get the job done. Lots of low health bars here for the red side. It looks like Guizera's been able to breach, whipping the Blotto directly into their carry, though. Is that Dwelf going to be able to hang on? It's going to be able to get the job done just in the nick of time. The Scoriox on the left-hand side as well, peppering things in. And while all that was happening, of course, the Umber still alive in the background. So beautifully done there for Guizera, taking the lead here in this lobby. Foxspirit had control pretty much this entire game up until this point. So beautifully done here for Guizera to get back in here. Of course, no matter what, fantastic finish for both of these players, but who's going to clutch this out here in the end? Foxspirit going to end up taking away this Alfie, which at this point that Dwelf's already fully evolved, so it's not necessarily in regards to stealing it away from Guizera, but maybe they can find some use for that red augment. We do see the Blazonite has that red augment on top of it. Can they hook up one more and maybe make a another item out of it? It looks like they're going to. Sure enough, Fate Sealer going to be added on now to that Blazonite. All legs pretty much in that Blazonite's basket. Granted, you do also have this forest off to the left-hand side. To bring the firepower, it's a little bit of an outcast of sorts, but it is going to give bloom to Foxspirit. Meanwhile, 3 steam, 2 magma, 4 water. This Dwelf is going to load its shot extremely quickly here while being immune, so it's not going to get stunned up. Here comes the shot alongside the Umber's reinforcement. It's going right through the Crunk and the Geyser. The Geyser pops its heel pretty much as it's falling, so it is going to be effective. Big shot coming out here from the Umber onto that Blazonite. The stun, though, making things difficult. Here comes that Virtuous Lynx to try and keep them healed up. It is trying to keep that Blazonite there, but as soon as the Dwell fires off its shot once again, that is when there's too much damage. Foxspirit going to take another hard shot here. Only one more in the tank. It's make or break here for Foxspirit if they want to end up winning this lobby. Again, at the very, very least, this is still a fantastic finishing position here for our first round. But obviously, you'd love to be a little bit more secure. They have Arcanite now. Try and maybe make a switch with the Ranger bindings. I'm not 100% sure, to be fair. So 3 Mystic, 6 Empath, going for Wildfire. And can they stop this Dwell? The last second switch here as well from Guizera is going to make it so that Phosphorus that has now been fully evolved here for Foxspirit is going to have to go the long way if it wants to try and get there. Shot immediately going on into the Geyser, but not going to be hitting any of the tanks this time. But that Phosphorus is going to get thrown directly into the Lynx, but it does not heal it in time. It's going to be taken down. One of the big carries off the board pretty quickly here. Once again now, all damage on the side of Foxspirit is put towards that Blazonite, but the Umber is on top of it. The healing is going to fall. The Blazonite needs a kill and needs to kill quickly. This is much closer, but the Umber is still right there. The 1v2 can absolutely handle this one. And that is going to be Guizera winning the lobby here. Lobby number 2's first game. Congratulations to Guizera. Of course, that was the 4 water, 3 steam, 2 magma composition with the 5 bulwarks. Harbinger, Scion style. Lots of emphasis on that Umber and the Dwelf to get the job done. Foxspirit had the 6 empaths with the 3 mystics, Nature Wildfire style. That Lynx did a fantastic job of keeping everybody alive so that the Blazonite could keep going, but once it was taken off the board, there was nothing you can do there. Gaba is going to end up falling here for the 6 air, 2 dust fighter style. 4th here for Mittcrowen, the 6 air Inferno Fire style with the Octius for backup. Could not quite get snowballing, but still makes it into the top 4. Droodo falling with the Toxic Bulwark Fighter composition alongside Berserker. CFGD had a lot of emphasis there onto that slashing, but it could not get snowballing, did not get the Omnivamp I was hoping for. Had a little bit of it, I believe, but not enough to get the job done. PatchTourist falling in 7th with the 6 air, 2 Tempest. Balanced kind of style, just couldn't get the ball rolling, unfortunately. And same thing for Ookina. Really tried hard for the 6 air, 4 shock composition, but it looked like it got denied pretty heavily. That is going to result in them falling in 8th place for this one. Alright, so game number 2 here in this IPL 500 round of 64, once again with lobby number 2. We did get to see OLA.Guizera have the comeback win there up against Foxspirit, who was dominating the lobby extremely early, pretty much the entire time, up until the very end, was able to find the fighters I believe they were looking for, and got the job done there, was able to outburst and outdamage that squad from Foxspirit through the links and all. I know they had the one Dwelf that did a fantastic job at bursting down very, very key targets. I'm gonna be starting off, of course, with the King of the Hill style, everybody at 100. Riding along here with Gaba, who loves to apparently just park their drone directly into the middle of everybody, and I cannot move it, unfortunately. But picking up a couple of the early alluvials with this head-to-head battle. And so far so good here for Gaba, as we're of course going to go around the IPL to show what has been happening across all of the matches, because of course we have our lobby here that we're focusing on, but there's still plenty of other matches going down. I do want to of course give highlight to down here. So of course we're watching match or lobby number 2. We did see earlier in this one, or lobby number 1, Maroon AI Blaze off to a fantastic start for themselves with Nariba and Detective Alan A. Everybody else trying to catch up for the moment here, as Gaba versus Guizera, 2 winners going to be going at it here in just a second. Of course, kind of recap the match that we did just see again. It's going to be OLA.Guizera and Foxspirit leading the charge. Gaba and Mittcrowen currently in the top 4 in the positions to move on. But anything could happen here in game number 2, as we're seeing Guizera basically picking up where they left off, it looks like. Oh no, I don't think that Valente is going to be able to get the job done. The quick Lura pickup coming out here from Gaba is going to help secure this one. Narkish was the first seed for Lobby 3, and it looks like fair enough there, as they were going to be able to take that lobby alongside Jonakino, Karabasov, and Luke Heats in the top 4. Not Complain, Nika, Texan, and Kulagast currently in the positions to move on for the next one, as I do realize that we've kind of bugged out here for a second. There we go. In lobby number 5, currently being the advancing positions being held by Dasho, Ma, Thanatos, and Sota. Lobby 6 currently being held by Lynx, PQP, Carl from Team Phantom, Zico Perico. Okay, I was going to say Zico Perico getting last in a round of 64. I wouldn't have believed you if you told me that earlier. So seeing them in 3rd, that makes a lot more sense. They're glad they've got that situated. And then the Fancy Pants in 4th. Lobby number 7, Insom and HoloHYPE in the top 2, Jer and Web3 Gaming TV. So okay, that result that we had seen a little bit earlier was off as well, but it has been fixed. So Insom finding a nice win here early in this round of 64. And then our last lobby here for number 8 is going to be Fury Hype, Owl Nerd, Stagian, and Slicks Hype. Well, we've rode around here with Gaba for quite a while. Let's hop in here with probably the player that is on the spiciest of hot seats. We do have Ookina. Went for a very risky 6 air 4 shock build early, but got kind of contested on the Riley. So they were only able to get 7 air and 3 shock, missing out on a lot of the damage that they would have wanted. And with that, they got eliminated extremely quickly into the 8th position. So they definitely need a lot of things to go their way to get themselves into that top 4. But off the rip here, they're definitely taking a lot of heat, as Droodo going to once again find themselves a good start here. We'll be hopping in the first draft round likely in just a moment's time. Take a quick peek at what we have going on. I always like early on to see who's been picking up the Lynxes. Personally, because of course, Lynx is probably one of my favorite alluvials, as it is my favorite animal. But I like to see who actually commits to the Lynxes, because once you hit level 5, there is opportunities to really roll hard for them, and it can carry your mid-game extremely well. but they do fall off a little bit the later it goes, depending on which links it ends up actually being. As we now have the carousel coming on through here, couple of tier 3s on the board. Another lure going to end up getting picked up. Winks as well going to be picked up here for Droodo. Foxspirit does find the app on. And of course, everybody has their own way of doing this. I know personally, if I don't see something in particular that's super juicy to me on the carousel, I'll just go for the fragment and don't really care about what is actually being placed. This has to be a bug, right? I was gonna say, that was very, very weird. They had components, but they didn't combine. Okay, there we go, there we go. Might have just been a visual. Again, Droodo now versus Gaba. We do have Empath Enchanter coming out here from Gaba, alongside the rather balanced composition here for Droodo, which is heavily reliant on this Relentless Lynx, the fighter Lynx of the Lynx group. Has that extra damage there with the Rift Striker, but the shield on top of it here may not necessarily be getting the most amount of value, but it does keep it safe at least a little bit early for these first couple of Ranger shots. But now it is a 1v4, and it does not look like it's going very well here for the Lynx. It's going to be able to take the one, but as soon as that Tatofi loads up once again, able to burst them down, and Gaba is going to win that one. Gaba versus Ookina in this next one. Ookina does also have this fighter Lynx with a very mixed match composition of augments on it. You've got the DPS boost with the Chrono Flux, but then a little bit of utility with the Safeguard Protocol and the Guardian's Grid. So those are mainly tank items for the most part. Granted, I guess you don't necessarily have a super tank. You do have the Axon that could probably use some of those, but a good rule of thumb is to just make one of your alluvials super stacked compared to spreading augments out across multiple alluvials. Trying to take down this Kuka extremely quickly. It's going to get a nice old shield at the very end there, but it will end up falling. But where's the firepower from this TNT? Surrounded by a bunch of empaths. This is extremely tough to breach. But right now, the Lynx and the Axon are doing a pretty good job. Good little stun coming out here from the Greater Appon. Going to allow for the TNT to get another shot off. The Rogue, the Lura in the background, just making a mess of things as well. One more shot coming out here from the Lynx is just going to be getting the TNT down to half. Going to get taken out. Just a matter of dealing with that Eve that does not fight back. And it will end up going down, so Ookina's rough streak here continues, but still plenty of health left in the game for them to make something happen. Gaba going for win number 3 in a row here. Can they make it happen versus PatchTourist, who's doing the tried and true Rogue Revenant style? Got 4 Rogues, 3 Revenants off the top. Of course, the big goal here is to try and get an imprint to allow you to get that 4th. And get that additional attack speed debuff. That is a core portion of the Rogue Revenant composition. Getting it early should allow them for many chances to get a job done. But of course, it is not guaranteed. It is a very, very scary way to play. But if you get it, it definitely does pay off. As we are seeing PatchTourist Rogues dive on in, immediately destroying the Kuka. Now it is on to the empaths. Good shields, good stuns, going to keep them alive for a little bit longer, but there's still 5 bodies directly on top of this corner. The lure is not going to be enough to distract. Again, low health bars, but the TNT cannot get another shot off. PatchTourist with the Rogues and the Revenants going to take the W here in this battle. Okay, now I'm just paranoid about my internet dying, but it looks like all is well. I don't see any more drop frames, so I guess we're good here. Twitch is doing its own thing, but I mean, what's new there? And who did we just see win? It was PatchTourist, who's now going up against Ookina. Same idea still here for Ookina, but we do now have the stacked Vermilia. I'm saying it right, the Verminio rather. Tanky, but also does a decent amount of damage all around it, so a very, very strong Illuvium. Still not as crazy as it used to be, but still very, very valuable. Ookina's key fighters are falling extremely quickly here. That Lynx got popped very fast. This is going to be another rough hit here for Ookina. PatchTourist looking good so far here with these rogues. And down to 58 already. That definitely hurts here for Ookina. To go for the next NPC round. Leading the charge here in this lobby is not Foxspirit, not Guizera. No, it is CFGD. 5 fighters with the 1 bulwark on top of it, making things work here with the help of this shiny, hollowed out Relentless Lynx. Love to see it. Dark Hollow on a couple of these as well. Quite beautiful finds. Let's take a run down the line and see what everybody's running. So, of course, fighters here for CFGD, Foxspirit. Little bit of a mixture of the Rogue, Predator, and Berserker. It hasn't necessarily decided if they want to go Rogue or go for fighters. You still have a lot of flex options there. Guizera with Enchanter Empath currently. Gaba, Earth Grand Knights, Empath Enchanter Scion. Droodo going to then have Rogue Bulwark. Revenant Rogue, so Mittcrowen trying to contest PatchTourist here with the Rogue Revenants, but right now PatchTourist seems to be much better off compared to Mittcrowen. And we see them leveling up rather quickly here. They want to try and get maybe some of these dashes quicker, or maybe get the Penguin faster. And try and maybe beat out PatchTourist. And then Ookina, heavy water with Fighter Scion Bulwark. So we see our top two players in the lobby currently going to be battling it out. That Valente just got immediately popped here for CFGD. That's definitely unfortunate. Big battle into the front line here with this mixture of fighters. 7 fighters here for CFGD. Granted, you do start getting healing when you have that 7th fighter, but there's still just too much damage on the side of Foxspirit. So the Foxspirit going to take the lead here in this lobby, introducing a little bit of mud into this composition as well. Now that they happen to have that Exalted Gorilla completely leveled up and evolved, so fair enough, good addition to the squad. But before that one, I was on PatchTourist, so I do want to give them their 3rd game because they didn't technically lose yet. They're still technically our king of the hill. The 7 rogues, 3 revenants, 2 predator. Build like this was definitely popular about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. Lots of people were crying for this thing to get nerfed. It did, and I think it's still going to be hit even harder in this next patch coming up if I base it off of the testnet. But even right now, it's maybe not as crazy as it used to be. But it does heavily rely on getting that 4th revenant, so we'll have to see if PatchTourist can make that happen. It requires getting an imprint, which is extremely difficult. Meanwhile, Guizera, Fighter, Empath, Enchanter, with a lot of the augments being placed onto that polar bear. The Jokel in the middle of everything, trying to take care of this Penguin extremely quickly, will be successful at doing so. The Lynx on the left-hand side here alongside the Ranger doing a good job of cleaning house as well. Revo going to come in here for backup the Lynx, and a fantastic fight here for Guizera. The team working together exactly as they needed to be able to secure that one. Next round of the carousel, what's the juicy targets? We do have a dash on the board, we have the mammoth on the board, and that flare that Ookina just picked up. A very nice tier 4 pickup here. Droodo opting for the dash, gonna take the rogue off the board. How about that Lura? That's gonna get picked up here by PatchTourist. As everybody else snags the tier 1s, Guizera's gonna snag the ace as well, the lone tier 3. The one thing I did not give the shout out to was the region that we were on. We're back at Halcyon C. However, it is not the same type of game. Instead of the free credits, we end up getting a free reroll that's stackable for every single round. So whether it be trying to boost your composition up early or trying to make a late burst in the end game and save those up and do and just buff your team a ton. Mittcrowen versus Guizera. We have the 6 there, 2 Tempest, led by the Kukaraf, with the DPS coming out from the Jokul. With the Rogue Revenants, we do see a Ramphy on the board. It's still, of course, just the Ramphy, so it's the smaller, squishy version that doesn't have as big of a area of effect, but I mean, anything standing in it is still going to get wrecked. A good little chuck here directly into many members of the Mittcrowen squad, but there's the ult that I was looking for. That Omega was huge, but you still have to deal with this polar bear, and look at it go. It might go down, but it's taking you with it, and he still has friends with it as well. Mittcrowen gonna end up losing this one. Big fight here for Guizera. That was actually a close one. Player I want to watch now is Ookina. I would hate to see them go 8th and 8th, but right now they are in a very, very tough position. They have quite a lot of Illuvials on the bench here, including that Krunk. What are they even going for in this instance here? We have Scions, we have Bulwarks, and we have a decked out Rake. Loaded with the fighter composite as well to give it a little bit of a boost of attack speed. Does it have Omni-Vamp? It very well could. It's loaded up to be an unstoppable Rake. But you're putting all of your eggs in this basket. A bad loss here versus Foxspirit's Mud composition could be dangerous. We know that Mud is fantastic at slowing you down. Big damage being done to the Rake pretty well immediately. Thank goodness it popped its Omega to get itself safe, but it's going to be turned onto. It's untargetable one more time. There's nobody else to back it up. The Rake is going to go down, and this is another very brutal loss here for Ookina. He's still in the game. Yes, just barely. 8 health on the board. I mean, what to do in this instance here for Ookina. At least you have this NPC round to take a breather and kind of see what's going on. And they're very, very close to getting the stage 3 Axel. Getting that Axodon would be a nice buff in terms of your tankiness, but definitely seeming to have a bit of a hard time in this one. All right. Now or never here for Ookina. They basically have to play perfect Illuvium to keep themselves in this tournament. Otherwise, they have the threat of being eliminated. Immediately going up to level 8, where does this allow them to do? They threw another fighter onto the board. The 5 Bulwarks is potentially there, but they don't have the Illuvial for it, actually. So opting to go for attack speed. This will buff up their Rake because of the implant, or not the implant, the imprint that they have. They have the steam, so again, it's just completely relying on this Rake. And their Ranger in this position is going to go diving directly into the opposing team. Right on top of the squeeze, actually. That's going to be doing some pretty decent damage. Can it get the job done before any serious damage comes down? It does end up falling down. Some decent damage again coming on through, and the front line just melts here for the most part here for Ookina. They still do have a couple of tanks. The Mammoth tries to push them aside. Not going to be able to get the job done. The Rake gets turned on. It's still alive, hanging on by a thread. And Ookina will end up falling. That's Sephoris wound it up and just popped those missiles out. And unfortunately here for Ookina, popped them all. 07s in chat here for Ookina. A valiant effort, but unfortunately getting eliminated here today. Alright, with that being said, nobody else is near elimination as of this moment. Let's hop along here with Guizera and PatchTouristHYPE versus OLA, the Rogues versus the Empaths. Can the Mammoth hold the line? Can that Bear stay alive? All the way over there on that left-hand side, we also see the Arctace flying on through. That basically just did a perfect little carpet bomb on top of the entirety of that Rogue squad, and they are just ticking away damage so quickly. That was beautifully executed here by Guizera. Positioning is everything, and being able to get that many targets with that that dot, the flame, is beautiful. I don't think we've sat around here with Mittcrowen for a little bit, so let's catch up with them and see what they're up to. That's a ramp fight that I see over on the bottom left-hand side, going up against Gaba, who of course has almost the 6 Scion composition going. Does have 5 bulwarks here for backup as well. Got the Mammoths. They do manage to get the 6 Scions before the battle starts, but they're going to lose that 5 bulwark bonus in order to get it. But I think they realize they need the firepower to get rid of this ramp fight quickly. Can they do so? In the position that this ramp fight's in, it is going to get some pretty decent value. Up to the sky as it goes alongside the water beam, but it is going to take half of pretty much everybody on the board. But at the same time, Mittcrowen has a lot of low health bars. Where's the shock? And that's exactly what Mittcrowen did not want to see. Gaba coming in clutch here with the Sephoris once again, with the Ranger as well, adding on that additional Granite. So with that, we now have someone on death's door. PatchTourist. Kinda want to double check for myself. Where is my bar? There we are. I can recall where we were last time, match 2. Yeah, if they do end up getting taken down right now, that would be the end of their tournament. Alright, so let's see, can they make the upset here, take care of Foxspirit running that mud composition. Rogue Revenant stuck at 3. That Malura is very, very tanky, and it's doing a great job of interfering with everybody, but it's relying strictly now onto the Stabbin and the Rake to get the job done. They have no emergency safety net augments. They will get immediately taken down. PatchTourist going to be eliminated here in 7th place for the 2nd consecutive game and will be eliminated from the tournament. Valiant effort, don't get me wrong, but unfortunate to see here for PatchTourist as we now go into the carousel one more time. Bunch of tier 5s. Droodo not going to mind picking that one up here for the Alfie. The Ramfie getting picked up here by CFGD, someone that we need to take a look at because we haven't seen their matches in a little while here. I'm surprised the Scorebach has still not been picked up. It's got that Ion Shard, which is a beautiful safety net. Foxspirit knows what's up. Going to immediately pick that up. Even if you don't want the Scarebach, being able to just sell that thing for 5 coins is, or 5 credits is very, very valuable. And the fact that it had the Ion Shroud for the safety net augment, you could pretty much use that on anybody. I'm surprised it made it through the carousel that long, but good on Foxspirit to pick that up. CFGD alongside XAU.Droodo, both on the hot seat of sorts. Droodo probably a little bit more so. They were also going for the Rogue Revenant style, and you can see now that, I believe it was PatchTourist who had a couple? Yeah, PatchTourist was going for Rogue Revenant too. Now that they've been eliminated rather early, they've been able to pick up a couple of extra Illuvials, but hopefully they did not wreck themselves economy-wise so that they can keep rolling. Try and get those Illuvials. The free stacks from the Halcyon Sea is definitely going to help them. I just hope that they've been saving them. I mean, CFGD, this team looks good. 7-fighter Berserker is going to be devastating, but we have the possibility of elimination here with Droodo, so I want to see what's going on here with Droodo versus Mittcrowen. This is awkward here for Mittcrowen. It's Rogue Revenant versus Rogue Revenant, but Droodo does actually have the 4th Revenant, and they have it exactly where they want. They put it onto the Slashin', and this thing, if it makes it to the end game, is going to be an absolute menace. Where does it go? Looks like it's going directly forward. That quinks off in the top. No, it's actually going to come on back here and go for the rake instead. Meanwhile, the fully loaded ramp fire in the bottom left-hand corner here for Mittcrowen. Rolled hard for it and must have paid off. It's going to fire off its first ability, and it's going to get absolutely nobody. It needs to charge up another ability before it goes down to the skies. It's going to be able to do it, but it's not going to be able to burst anybody. And Mittcrowen going to take the heat here. Unfortunately, that misfire on the first Omega is going to hurt it badly, and now potential eliminations here for Mittcrowen and for Gaba. They don't play each other. It's very, very scary again. If I reference my bar once again here, Mittcrowen was 4th and Gaba was 3rd, so I mean there's potential for some of these other players to come back if these players both do manage to get eliminated. CFGD, one of those players kind of on that bubble that would love to see one of these players fall right here, right now. Rogue Revenant with that beautiful rampfire alongside the 7 fighters in Behemoth Berserker. Where does the Omega come from? Here comes the ult from the rampfire. It's going to burst down. The Rip Lance right till the last possible second, but does get the job done. It's still now a 5-on-2. CFGD is going to get taken down here, it looks like. Sure enough, that will be the case. The rampfire finding value, and the 4-bloom fighter style from CFGD could not get the job done. Droodo does end up falling here in 6th place. Now, one way or another, somebody is getting eliminated right here, right now. Once again, to reference the bar beside me here, Mittcrowen was 4th in the last one. Gaba was 3rd in the last one. Both of them really need to get at least 1 or 2 more spots to keep themselves ahead of CFGD. If CFGD falls here, they're sitting pretty. But if CFGD does end up winning and one of them falls, it could be troublesome, especially since I believe the tiebreaker heavily emphasizes on your last game's placement. Lots of burst damage coming out here from the Vermilier rather. Here comes a rampfire right on top of the squishies, and just like we've seen time and time again before, that's some big damage, and you've got other rogues here to help seal the deal. That Octius does some good damage, but is it enough? It is not going to be enough. Gaba will fall in 4th, but CFGD has also fallen. So these 3 right here are sitting pretty. They should be safe in regards to making it into the next one. We'll keep riding along though. see this to completion, but in terms of our top 4, I think we have a rough idea of who it will end up being. That being, of course, being Guizera, Foxspirit, Gaba, and Mittcrowen. But let's see here in case there's anything in regards to seeding to worry about. Of course, you still want to play for the W. Mittcrowen, how much longer can you hang on here? Diving directly on top of the Appon, gonna get stunned up pretty quickly, but now that it's taking the heat, it's gonna get everybody close up in here. Big damage coming on through, but it only takes these members down to about 3/4 HP. But that stabbing rather, still in the background doing work until it gets focus fired. It will end up falling. We have our final 2. A very, very similar tale compared to game number 1 between this, or in this lobby, between these 2 players. OLA.Guizera versus Atlas's Foxspirit. Foxspirit in the last game, of course, was ahead by quite a wide margin. Dominated the lobby for the most part until Guizera made the comeback. Is it going ahead by quite a wide for the most part? Made the to be here, or does Foxspirit get revenge? Either way, both of these players do move on to the next round. But in case of seeding, definitely want to get that win. The one thing that I will say that I was kind of surprised about with Mittcrowen's Rampfire, that thing was fully evolved, and yet it still felt like it was just a little bit short at one-shotting things. I've seen Rampfights one-shot things. I'm curious if it was just because of the augments or what, but it just felt like it was missing just a little bit of firepower, or if it wasn't landing crits. I don't know what would have happened here. But of course, your final 2 here in this lobby: Foxspirit from Team Atlas, Guizera from Team OLA. Mud versus Inferno, Fire and Air. Let's see how this one goes. Empath Enchanter on the side of Guizera, compared to the 5 fighters, Empath's Mystics, Predator and Berserker. Let's see how this goes. The Singe is going to be the first thing targeted down, stunned up, and completely demolished. Here comes the Monarch through the back line with the help of the Rampfight to try and get the job done. Nope, it will end up going down here. Now the Jotun, the big damage dealer here for Guizera. The tank is going to fall. They're going to be able to focus onto this bear, but a lot of the damage here for Foxspirit has fallen. Guys are going to try and keep everybody topped off. The Riptors will end up falling, which means it's just a matter of dealing with the bear, and they'll absolutely be able to do so. Which now makes that Foxspirit's lobby to win, gets revenge for game number 1, and takes it.